Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, refreshed and ready to go. So we need to talk to Mr. Robinson, I guess. If it be true today is all I can help thee with, prithee did let me knoweth. Wow, what a character. Mr. Robinson, could I ask you to give us an introduction to the tasks of a chemist? To be able to smelt metals, tis behoveful to understand the composition of the minerals. Oh wow. Yeah, deciding the ingredients, proportions, and which refining process to useth. Mr. Robinson is saying, before steel making, we need to know the composition of the materials. Then we decide on the ingredients, proportions, and which refining process to use. Okay. He is responsible for running tests on the composition of various minerals through chemistry. So Mr. Robinson is also in charge of the chemical testing for the quality of the steel rails. Huh. We doth not hath the art to explore the caliber of steel rails. What Mr. Robinson means to say is that the Ironworks Laboratory does not have the credentials to run tests on steel rails. Credentials? Railway constructors, mainly foreign companies, have their own preferred testing institutions. The test reports are issued by our ironworks. Oh, they're not recognized, okay. Thee speaketh the truth. How? Okay. Mount Fulman Ting. I heard that he once served as your assistant. Why was he transferred? Ting was very talented. I applaud his contributions as mine aid. He did doth help me in many ways, and in returneth I oh, this is hard, guys. Did giveth him bounteous rewards. Co-equal so, he did maketh an unforgivable misprison. He was a cut purse. He did steal mine notes, which did have multitudinous data of the essence. He stole laboratory. I'm just gonna try and translate this for you guys. I'm not very good at Old English. He did steal laboratory instruments and then returned them the next morning. Oh, did he really think I wouldn't find out? Everything has a fixed placement. I know of his trickery. Wanted to gain more knowledge. Our lab has its own rules, and I don't like people who don't follow the rules. So, yeah, he sent Ting to the factory floor, I guess. Okay, laboratory table, test tube skills. Wait, I think we're going to use this soon. Hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, ammonia, hydrochloric acid. I have everything, okay. Use the test composition of minerals and steel. Let's see. Oh my god. Am I right? I am. I just remembered a few unpleasant memories. As long as you're fine. I just found a bottle of reagent that's quite rare. Perhaps it can be of use. What reagent? Portrait. What's the portrait? Zhang Zhidong. Oh, this guy? He advocated for education and industry. Why he's hung here in the... Let's have a look. Representative figure of the Western Affairs movement. He advocated for Chinese traditional values for foundation, Western ideology for practical use. Ah, so yeah. Guys, read into this. Do your research. I think these are the pictures. Can we have a look? Catherine? Are you also here to investigate the laboratory? I'm here for the photos. The camera was destroyed, but the film inside was untouched. Okay, so they've been developed. And... okay, let's have a look. Okay, we got questions about the ironworks. Well, of course, I'm a senior reporter. I know everything. It's really difficult for domestic enterprises like Hanyang Ironworks to develop and grow. They need to buy foreign equipment. Even mineral resources are controlled by the foreigners. At the market, foreigners control the right to build most railways in China. They're the ones who decide whose steel rails to buy and what the standards are for testing. Take Shanghai Nanjing Railway with the British chief engineer, for example. The agreement specifies that the British are in charge of purchase with a commission of 5%. Naturally, the British will choose to buy Western products to gain more profit. When they buy... Okay, so it's about competition between the Chinese ironworks and the British steel. So, sayings about bad quality of its steel rails have sent the ironworks to a rock bottom. No wonder Mr. Deputy Administrator seemed so anxious. That's why he hopes that my news report can help them restore their reputation. Doesn't exactly help with this murder or suicide. Captain's photos. Here we go. There's a photo left. Okay, that's the docks. The molten steel basin, we've seen this before. And, okay, taken in the office on the furnace factory floor. Looks different. How does it look different? Taken yesterday evening. What's about it? This detail in the photo differs from how the office is now. The money bag? John, the money bag on the desk also disappeared. Also? What? Yeah. Used to pay wages. Everything else looks pretty normal, although I think this was different. I think this was more like complex picture, right? Am I right? Blueprints on the wall have changed. A flowchart in the steelmaking process was placed above the map. But now it's at work. Oh yeah, here we go, I remember this. Working drawing of the open hearth furnace. Even more. The map in the photo looks evidently more worn down. Who did it? And why would they suddenly make such a change? This is interesting. The paper on the wall changed. Could it be related to his death? It's hard to believe that there's no connection. Could it be the suspect that did it? Can't rule out the possibility. Oh! Dark Shen. Dark John. Was it necessary for Ting to replace the flowchart with a working drawing? Could you not? Yeah, exactly. That was the prize. Answer me. Was it necessary for Ting to replace the flowchart with a working drawing? Probably not. There was no need. Both furnaces are in operation. It didn't make any sense to hang the working drawing up again. Ting had no reason to change the blueprints, nor did other workers. Unless the suspect did it. Okay, why? Why? To destroy information? I think so. Like, for example, in the last case it was the coat, right, that had bloodstains on it. So what if those... Switched out the blueprints. What kind of information was it? No traces of handwriting on them either. The map is exactly the same as... What's different? Which means... left. The information was left after. Left after the crime was committed. New information appeared on the blueprints that were torn off. Okay. What was the new information? My brain is burning, guys. It's racing. Can only imagine what John is feeling right now. The only reason to hide the evidence. The evidence will reveal his crime. Makes sense. Rumors say Ting was killed by ghosts, but he was murdered before falling into the ladle. This means that the new information that appeared on the blueprints were... I'm guessing it's bloodstains, like the last case. Right? So... if bloodstains were found on the factory floor, his schemes would be exposed. Evidence. Show me the evidence that supports your deduction. Evidence. What other evidence have I yet to consider? Evidence that could indirectly prove that the deceased was injured and bleeding. So there were bloodstains on this. The uniform didn't have blood on it. Near the steam turbines. He was wearing a head cloth. Boom. That's right. cover up the scars and bloodstains on his head. Okay. This is not enough to prove. Unfortunately, the body has been destroyed, otherwise an autopsy would reveal everything. Even if it's just a hypothesis, at least it tells us that the primary crime scene is most likely the office. Oh my god. So then the crime was committed in the office, then he was moved to the second floor. Did he just faint again or something? Okay. I have understood something. It is most likely the office was the primary scene of the crime. The blueprints were switched out because blood splattered across. Wow. We need to find a way to prove it. If blood splattered onto the blueprints, we should be able to find bloodstains on the wall. But we didn't find anything, so it must have been wiped. If only we could find a way to test for it. Here we go, Frankie. What's your idea? Right about an ammonia powder that glows when it reacts to blood. Huh. It has it. This one. The scientific name is... oh my god. 3-aminophthalhydrazide. Aminophthalhydrazide. My goodness. A blood detection reagent. Okay, so I think we're going to do some chemistry, guys. Here we go. Time to start preparing the blood detection reagent. Oh, we've got notes, okay. There are 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, luminol, 0.2 grams of luminol. 0.2. Okay, so we've got scale here. 0.2 grams. Luminol. Put this in. Okay, what's next? Sodium hydroxide, is this? My chemistry isn't that good. I think so. 6 grams. So 1 plus 5 equals 6. Sodium hydroxide. Boom. Okay, now it's H2O, that's water, and H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide, I think. Is it here? Oh, here we go. So water, 90 milliliters. 90, water. Oh, we can, oh, there we go, 90, okay. Boom. 40 mils of hydrogen peroxide. H2O2. I think we just reduce it like this, right? Boom. That was easy. It's all done. I enjoyed that process. Quite simple, but takes a bit of fiddling around. Okay, can't wait for this. What does Sam have to say? Form and Ting's relationship. He's a very interesting person, Mr. Robinson. I really enjoy talking to him. How's Ting's relationship with Mr. Robinson? David used to be Mr. Robinson's assistant, but their relationship was never too close. You both have probably heard about David beating Mr. Robinson a while ago. Beating? Wow. For what? David came to ask Mr. Robinson in private to help him test the steel made by his methods. Mr. Robinson agreed and ran tests over and over again, but the results were unsatisfactory. David was quite stubborn and insisted that Mr. Robinson was being half-hearted. Mr. Robinson only meant to help, so naturally he resented David's accusations. Mr. Robinson's word became quite harsh. David was so angry that he beat Mr. Robinson. The matter was only resolved when Deputy Administrator Lee stepped in. And David was just too eager to achieve success. Okay, let's go test the blood. A monument? The monument was erected when Hanyang Ironworks was first put into operation. At the time, there were quite a few foreign engineers. Wow. Oh, look, there's a real picture. Some foreign engineers, looks like it. Many skilled workers from overseas were introduced at the beginning of the establishment of the ironworks. So this was a real ironworks. Unfortunately, Destroyed by the flames of war, this monument is now lost. Oh. But there's a picture. So nice that they included that. So we need to go back to the office. See if we can think about some of these. Rubber blocks. So the railing was made from rubber? Oh, a rubber rod as a railing. Rubber I've seen in the past is soft and capable of supporting the weight of a person. It's vulcanized hard rubber. Won't easily become deformed, but once the outer shutter was opened and the temperature closed, yes, and it softened and just disappeared. That's why it appeared to disappear. Murderer is very familiar with what is stored inside the warehouse. Could it be the administrator? How did the suspect leave? Even if they used the ladle to stay undercover, how was he able to leave the scene undetected? The workers were fighting the fire in front of the furnace, and they would have seen him walk out from the front. I believe the safest choice would be the elevator in the charging area. So Cole is the suspect. The surroundings. Okay, we need to go back there. Foreman Ting's relationships. Ting is really unpopular, nobody likes him. Everyone has a motive. Primary scene. Okay. No corpse, no autopsy. There's no way to know what unforeseen mishap Ting ran into. I think the primary crime scene is the office. Or the laboratory. Laboratory. This is a tough one. Look into the places that Ting had been to before the incident. So before the incident, he was in the office, right? Let's go up to the loading area because I think Cole is a suspect right now. The charging area. Excuse me, guys. There we go. Cole, hi. We need to know if the door was opened, right? Yeah, Ting was murdered. Absolutely. Have you noticed anything unusual? There we go. He was working here all night, but sometimes I need a break. I never left, not even for a second. You spent the whole night on the second floor. Found nothing unusual with. Found nothing unusual. That conflicts with. What does it conflict with? This? Because it was found on the other side of the elevator, right? What's wrong with it? It's not his? Okay. He spent the whole night on the second floor, found nothing unusual. I don't know what that connects to. Are we missing something? What's he doing here? The foreman was murdered. Yes. Okay. You remember something strange. Be as easy to tell us. Notice the crane hook was not stationed in its usual position. Where's the crane hook usually positioned? Oh, it's been moved. By the suspect? No one would move the crane hook if we weren't casting ingots. Someone used the crane hook that night. That's right. Okay. Is there anything over here? Did we miss something? I think we're missing something. I have a feeling... Do we need to talk to this? We talked to this guy, right? Yeah, we did. Something about Cole. We need to present the evidence to get something out of him, right? To refute his recount of the story. You spent the whole night on the second floor and found nothing unusual. That conflicts with... Oh, so we just got this piece of evidence. It was used last night, and he should have known? If you were really here all night, how could you have not known that somebody used the plane last night? Ah, there we go, we got him. What's he gonna say? Last night I did in fact leave the second... Oh, he was lying? I was very hungry and I went up to the dock to have a midnight snack. The furnace could have been unattended for an hour after materials were shoveled in. Patrolman Koo can prove it. Whenever I'm on duty, we go to the dock together around that time. So he opened the conveyor door? No? He seems pretty down to earth, though. I did open the conveyor door without permission. After the blast, the fire was so intense. It's only natural that I fear death. Why did you keep this a secret? Oh, right. Requires workers to put out the fire as a priority, so he didn't have the guts to stay and was afraid to lose his job. Yeah, okay. So, we cleared that up. How did the suspect leave? So, the conveyor door was the only way to leave. There are only three possibilities. The murderer was Cole, or someone Cole covered up for, or someone left the scene after Cole. I think it's the latter. So who's the suspect? Doesn't this mean that the person who didn't arrive immediately after the incident is most suspicious? Even that person is not Cole. He would be someone who is quite familiar with Cole. This way he could predict Cole's behavior and use it to his advantage to carry out the plan. I see. What are we doing next? Oh, right, the office. We go back to the office to use the blood reagents, right? That's Frankie made. Okay, let's go. We're gonna find some. The statue. How do we use the blood reagents? Oh, we're gonna investigate this shrine. Ganjiang Moye. This seems normal. Six of incense. Behind the altar is a secret compartment. Oh, we can open this, I guess. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found a very important clue. It's open. Boop. Oh. That's why there was smoke, right? The true secret of the shrine. Ammonia, sodium hydroxide, all kinds of reagents. Three bottles placed on the shelf. Corrosion. So something was knocked over? Ooh. Gunpowder smell. Concentrated nitric acid. Okay. Two pieces of steel soaked in reagents seem to have been corroded. One of the labels says sample made by pig iron, burnt with coal from Westphalia. The other label says sample made by a mixture of Chinese coke brews and anthracite. Oh, there we go. That was quick. I never knew there was a whole set of chemical appliances. He was secretly conducting experiments instead of worshipping gods, guys. Mystery solved. I can see clearly now. About the appliances. He never knew. So he stole from the laboratory. He used to be the assistant of Robinson, and Mr. Robinson recommended him. Foreman's research. To reduce cost and increase efficiency. The minerals obtained by our ironworks are mostly phosphate rocks left over by the Japanese. To produce good steel, we had to buy pricey phosphorus-free coke from the foreigners. Production costs high, the quality has always been unstable. After we used the open hearth process, the product quality has improved, but the costs are still high. Ting suggested to replace foreign coke with a mixture of Ping, I guess this is Chinese coke, and anthracite. Steel will be refined in the open hearth furnace as phosphorus is removed. Oh my god, this is very in-depth. Do you think it's relevant to the case? About Foreman Ting's suggestions. There's a problem, yeah. Ting's method reduced cost by a third. We also did some tests on the mechanical properties. The results are good. Therefore, we trial produced a batch of steel rails. Good quality and low price helped us get orders from many railways. But then, a test report from London came back saying there were quality problems. Carbon content of the steel was too low to be durable. The phosphorus content was too high and has prospects of fragmentation, cracking. Oh my god. Accused us of cutting corners. Oh wow. After that incident, his condition hasn't been so well. So he's running experiments here to disprove the tests from London? Okay, the map was removed, so... We suspect the office was the scene of the crime. Okay, here we go. Blood on the walls and on the floor. Looks like alien blood. I guess this is reacting to the reagent. We need to reinvestigate this room. Cast-off pattern. The murder weapon was not a knife, but a blunt object instead. Is there something inside this room? Uneven thickness. Wiping? Swipe pattern bloodstain left by the murderer when they cleaned up the crime scene. Wow. Such traces often appear at the scene when the victim is repeatedly hit by a blunt instrument. So we're looking for a murder weapon too. Strange bloodstains. This one looks like a symbol drawn on the bloodstained floor. Like that. The other one looks like a stamp, like these. Feels familiar. Could be the murder weapon. Murder weapon seems to be something very long. Bloodstains discontinued because the map was switched out, yeah. And here? Cast-off range is wider than any of the cases we've seen before. The hanging positions. Oh! So the stains came here before the badges were placed. Unobscured, yeah. The crime took place before the workers started work. Oh, that's right. Nice. The murder weapon was the statue of Gandao Moye. The weight is appropriate, but the shape seems to be a bit short. Didn't find anything? No. Maybe like these blocks? They're a bit heavy, right? Why? What's the matter? your agent is applied to steel rail, the results might be inaccurate because it's made of metal. The existing evidence is enough to sort out some doubts. I'm just gonna take a wild guess. Yeah. Nitric acid harms the respiratory tract, and he inhaled a lot, so he lost his voice. Good shit. Classic me. Okay. Appliances hidden under the shrine. Apparently worshipping the shrine behind closed doors was just a cover for conducting experiments. And the laboratory in the factory you can use because he didn't want anyone to know. Okay. We have already examined all the places that can be investigated, and it's time to ask the administrator. Okay. We're gonna... Who's the murderer? We can confirm that the death of Ting was the result of a murder. Yeah, where he fell was the secondary crime scene. The primary crime scene was here. So he was staging a suicide. It's a fake railing made from rubber, this is. Rubber found in the back. Vulcanized rubber that won't easily deform at room temperature. Yeah, the rubber was softened with burning heat. Ting's falling triggered an explosion, burning the rubber. And the greyish-white powder we found on site was the residue. Okay, there's an explanation of that. So this proves that the murderer knows the warehouse inventory like the back of their hands. After the incident, Cole could not withstand the heat and opened the conveyor door. So the murderer took the elevator. So Cole, okay, they were able to find the perfect hiding spot. The murderer must have hid in this location. There was a top wall in here, right? The iron heat. So he could have hidden underneath. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the sheets of tarpaulin. Underneath, along with the body. Furnace charger could have found them once he went to shovel the materials. It takes 8 hours to burn a furnace of steel. Iron is required in the beginning. After that, only subsidiary materials are needed. Yeah, okay. This murderer is quite familiar with steel making process. Wouldn't it be easier to say that Cole was the murderer? That's true. It wasn't, I don't think. Why? Was it Cole? What would prove? Is it this uniform? Only the chest and knees were stained with rust. Rust only appears on the heaps of steel scrap. Okay, the wearer was lying on his front. So if Calder was the murderer, there'd be no need for him to hide in the iron heap. Okay. Which means the murderer is most likely isn't a worker, yet is familiar with the inventory and the warehouse and the steel making process, and be able to forge a suicide note. Not only writes, but is also capable of imitating others' handwriting. Oh, this again. So he knows the factory well. So that must be these two guys. Maybe the guard at Mr. Robinson. But Mr. Robinson doesn't know how to forge a suicide note, right? So I think it's always the young guy. I think it's this guy, Samuel Ho. The prime suspect is you, Mr. Ho. Oh, he doesn't look very scared. Very full of himself. Yeah. What is the meaning of this? Is he mistaken? We need to find a... Okay. How could a feeble man like Samuel get the body from the office to the second floor? Ta-da, obviously. The crane. Cole usually slacks off from work for 1 hour. And you knew Cole's habit, so you took advantage and used the crane. Oh. Face of a guilty man. Okay. So, if you have any objections, Since I suspect him, naturally I will provide evidence to prove it. So, will Mr. Ho be willing to have a debate? A debate? True gold does not fear fire. I shall not succumb to your injustice. Oh, this is interesting. May I ask the reason why Detective Shen suspects me? The reason why I regard you as a prime suspect is because you're the most consistent with the features of the murderer. I read the books of the systems of logic, deduction, all features of the murderer summarized before. If you insist, I do indeed fit the requirements. However, that doesn't mean that I must be the murderer, does it? For example, steel rail is very sturdy, and its features, but not anything sturdy and iron-made can be called a steel rail. Typical fallacy of what is this? It's a... Oh no. I was reading what you were saying. Oh, I lost a life. I think it's a misinterpretation. It's the prime suspect, not the murderer. That's correct. Not necessarily a murderer, but the murderer must be among those who meet such features. All people who meet these features are suspects. You keep blurting words suspect and murderer. You're the one who's misleading. Your so-called deduction is all speculation. There's no evidence to prove that a murder actually occurred. Bloodstains. That's right. Oh my god. Bloodstains were in this office. The primary scene of the crime was here, and Frankie made a reagent that glows when it interacts with blood. Does such a reagent really exist? How come I've never heard of it? Are we bluffing? And let's see him. Test it right again in front of you. Even bloodstains from a long time ago can... A long time ago? You're absolutely right, Thistle Frankie. Those could be traces from a long time ago. Considering that, how can you be sure that a murder happened last night? The switched out blueprints because of the picture, right? So bloodstain breaks in continuity, and no bloodstains were seen on the walls behind the blueprints either. This proves the blueprints on the wall were switched out by someone. Okay, the missing section exists on the switched out blueprints. The blueprints were switched out last night. How do we prove that? That doesn't prove anything. Who knows if the blueprints had bloodstains from a long time ago? In my memory, those blueprints were smudged and dirty anyway. You still have yet to realize the crux of the matter. I can determine when the blueprints were switched out because yesterday evening Miss Wen took a photo of the office, and in the photo, what was on the wall were the old blueprints. There were no bloodstains on them at all. I think we've won. This means blood was spilled last night. You have a silver tongue, Detective Shen. I admit defeat. So you're pleading guilty? No? Lost the debate. Where's the crime in that? What assumption is that? That little Frankie's reagent is actually able to detect bloodstains. I learned chemistry at the Ironworks School, and I have also read countless foreign books. I've seen a number of fluorescent dyes, but I've never heard of a blood detection reagent. It's possible it's just a street trick, like changing the color of water or something. It's a parlor trick. It's composed of luminol and hydrogen peroxide. The iron in blood can catalyze the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. and generate monooxygen. Monooxygen can oxidize luminol, and that's what makes it glow. You should understand the principle behind it since you've read books. So that means the detection of blood is actually the detection of iron. Uh-oh. I've been wronged! What? That's right. Little Frankie, this is an ironworks. Iron is everywhere. Yeah. It could be anywhere, right? Could have splashed at the time. Yeah, pattern of the bloodstain. What's there to say about the pattern? It's hard for Detective Shin's deduction to convince me. Oh, this guy is a tough nut. Much more intelligent than the last one, hey? More intelligent than Clarence. Murder is a serious crime. Shouldn't be handled. Detective, it's my fault for being thoughtless. A reagent containing iron will indeed cause luminol to glow. Poe insists that the murder didn't take place, and Mr. Lee seems like he's almost convinced now. So what should we do? No corpse or bloodstains. What else is there to prove? A murder weapon. Okay, we need to find a murder weapon. All contact leaves traces. The evidence is not non-existent but instead undiscovered. All objects and all images settle in different locations sequentially. This figure actually looks quite familiar. Something that could leave such a large bloodstain should be the murder weapon. It's clear to me now the murder weapon was some kind of symbol. Oh, is it this? The money bag? Can the money bag be the murder weapon? In the photo. The money bag? Because the logo looks the same. The emblem of Hanyang Ironworks is on the money bag. There are two symbols on the bloodstains on the floor of the office. One symbol, yeah, there we go. The other was the pattern on the silver coins. What silver coins? Used to pay wages. It's the one they use. So where's the money bag? But in reality he was trying to dispose of the murder weapon, rather than pay people their wages early. Does it though? There can be reasons for disposing to... Okay. I accidentally ripped the corner of the money bag this morning, and I used the head cloth to wrap around the money instead. Got rid of the damaged money bag. Destroyed it. Yeah, blood. What blood is that? Yeah. Liquids containing iron. Well, this guy is full of himself. We need conclusive evidence to connect this matter to him. The only way to nail him down is to find direct evidence that Poe was involved. What kind of evidence would it be? How about I help you? Dark John. I love this guy. Here we go. Means we're getting close. Getting close. Review the whole case and figure out which parts of the murderous plans would leave traces. Alright guys, let's do it. We need to present the evidence that proves Supervisor Ho was involved. Carefully cleaned up the crime scene. Okay. When Cole was away, he used the crane hook to move the body onto the second floor. He shaved rubber in the warehouse and set up the rubber railing. Once this was accomplished, he hid within the iron heap under the top wall. When the casting began, he used the ladle to create the incident, and then hid in the right corridor. When Cole went to check on the explosion, he hid back into the iron pit. After Cole left, he used the elevator to flee the scene. These are the 7 steps. This would all contact leaves traces, right? You think it's like the rust from the rusty iron or the tarpaulin? Could the reagent like detect that? Oh, I think we found it. If there's nothing else, I'd like to take my leave. Hold on. What else can I do for you, Detective Shen? Okay, we're gonna test them. Can we test your hair and clothes? You're going too far. Since you're innocent, why would you be afraid of the test? It's only natural that bloodstains won't be detected on me. I'd rather die than be humiliated. Seems that, doing so, your innocence will be restored. Why are you reluctant to prove that you're innocent? Are you afraid of a few drops of reagent? Okay, I think we got him, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got him. Oh, so they tested Ho and the patrolman. Mr. Ho is glowing. It's not the blood. It's the iron. It's the rust, yeah. Conclusive evidence. Boys and girls, we did it. The iron and the rust would cause the luminol to glow. This was a tough one. My brain is like toast right now, guys. To avoid running into coal, you had to hide underneath the tarpaulin multiple times. All contact leaves traces. I love that quote, actually. Might tattoo it on my back. Just kidding. And even if you wore a uniform on the outside, the cuffs of your sleeves, hems of your clothes, and your hair are bound to be stained. I'm working in the ironworks all year round. It's normal for me to be stained with iron. I knew you would say so, which is why I asked the patrolman to act as a control experiment. He also works in the ironworks, yet there is little to no luminol reaction to him. How could you explain this? When I was making an inventory of iron ore this morning, I actually accidentally tripped and fell. I guess the cuffs and hem of my clothes were dirty then. Sometimes just look at the door. How did you fall so that rust got all over your hair braid? It slipped and fell on your back. You just lied and gave yourself away, Mr. Hell. Look at on top of his head. There's not so much blue glow on your braid as there is on top of your head. This is hilarious. We got him. After leaving the furnace area, you had to show up as soon as possible to avoid suspicion. So you met with Mr. Lee to discuss paying wages in advance to dispose of the murder weapon, right after Frankie and I already arrived at the ironworks and began investigations. So he didn't have time to deal with the traces. That's why he was so flustered. Confess, confess, confess. Shame. Ah, there we go. I did it. Why in the world would you do this? Samuel, I found a method that can improve seal-making process. From this day on, we won't have to buy expensive coke from overseas anymore. Our cost is 1/3 lower than that of Germany and Japan, yet the quality is almost the same. David, you've finally done it. I've been waiting my whole life for this day, and now, our railway can finally use steel rails made by ourselves. David, the test report from London is here. It says the steel rails made with your new method has prospects of fragmentation. That's impossible. We just completed tests, and there were no problems at all. I'll leave the report in the office so you can take a look for yourself. This doesn't make any sense. Every segment was undoubted. You should take a break. You haven't slept in 3 days. This test. There must have been something wrong with this test report. Mr. Robinson faked it? Or the British faked it? Mr. Lee had decided to continue purchasing coke from Westphalia. David, please understand that this is mainly due to consideration for the production time. Well, I should congratulate you then, Supervisor Hall. Huh? You've been fooling the entire ironworks for months. Tell me, how many benefits have you and Mr. Robinson received from the British? Oh, so he's saying it's from self-defense. No. No. It's not self-defense. So much blood. How can it be self-defense? Yeah. Shows the murderer continued to hit Ting on the head even after he fell to the ground. To ensure his death. Even if you killed Ting out of passion last night, your murder scheme was deliberately planned. Yeah. So what's the truth? Foreman Ting suggested a new method of steelmaking, using cheaper materials. This method reduced costs but cut off the purchaser's source of wealth. Oh. This is the reason why Ho and Robinson colluded to falsify the test report. To persuade Mr. Lee to continue purchasing pricey coke, so that they can make money from it. Ting suspected the report was false and he failed to challenge the authority of Mr. Robinson, so he conducted experiments in the name of worshipping gods to prove the report was wrong. Yet Ho took advantage of this as well to create the illusion of Ting's suicide. You treacherous leech. Leech, Your Honor, I did this all for the ironworks. What? So what if I cooperated with Mr. Robinson and interfered with our inspection report? You think I'd be able to tamper with the report in London? Chemical testing, phosphorus content, standards of the process. Those are all shackles they're forcing us to wear. Even the newspapers besmirching us are owned by them. They're holding our lives by the neck. What do we have to do that could ever counter that? Have you no shame? Rights to build railways in China have already been divvied up among foreign lords. There's a tremendous profit in every single segment. We were under the spotlight after we successfully sealed several steel rail deals a while ago. We used to be runts who followed behind them, yet now you're trying to flip the table over. Do you think that these foreign companies will allow the ironworks to stand in the spotlight? You. By purchasing expensive coal, you're just returning a portion of the benefits back to them. This way the ironworks will survive, while I can earn a little money, a way of living. Yeah. Have you lost your ambition to build industry in China? Ambition? Can you feed yourself on ambition? With shackles everywhere we turn, how will we ever be able to prosper the country? However, since the test report was falsified, that means, even though he could only use low-quality minerals and cheap coal, Ting did make good steel. So, it means that foreigners aren't the only ones who can make innovation of steelmaking technology. You can't be so naive to think that little innovation can change the situation, can you? It's just a wishful thinking, like an ant that wants to move trees. If Ting's technical innovations are really as insignificant as an ant, why would the foreign lords you speak of falsify the test reports? Without accumulation of each speck of innovation, how could we compete with the foreign companies? Oh, guys. Policy, personal grudges. There's so many layers to this story. And set perfectly in this time in Chinese history when science and superstition were clashing and the East and West were clashing, and I mean, wow. This was a great one. And I can't believe that, I mean, this is just the demo. We'll get so much more. Case closed. Oh, thank you, Detective Shen. Too bad Mr. Robinson ran away, okay? A few words with Frankie in private. What's Frankie got to do with this? Could you be the son of Mr. Su? Xu? I think it's Xu. Do I look that much like him? Of course, being so knowledgeable at a young age. It's quite the spitting image of him. Wow. Have you seen the books in the laboratory? Yeah, read them all super attentively a long time ago. Those books were all written and translated by your father. Wow. He died young. Oh. Poor Frankie, orphaned. Or doesn't have a father. Wow, there's a background story for Frankie here. A bit more depth to the characters. I like it. Sorry to keep you waiting. Oh, is that food? Sesame cake. Let me know if it's laced with any knockout drugs. No poison. Jesus. Leave me one. I'm not a fan of sweets. Oh, that's a nice end to case number 3. Wonder what the patrolman is doing here. What's Cole saying? You can finally take a break. No superstition anymore, hey? Well, that's quite a wholesome story, actually. This very devoted chemist and foreman trying to make industry in China, like the domestic industry in China, prosper. Nice. Oh, look at these birds. Who's Auntie Vu? Like, she must be involved in the second case. You rascal. Oh, she's a coroner. I see. Why are you acting all modest? The case from before, yeah. She's definitely in case number 2. Someone must have died for them to run into each other. So I think we're getting back on the boat. Have you finished handling everything yet? I have uncovered the truth and the ironworks will resume production. Lee is an old friend of mine and sends his regards. I've already done what you asked of me. What did the apothecary say? The drugs weren't knockout drugs, but a drug manufactured for a special purpose. For getting high? Did the apothecary know the composition of the drug? He didn't recognize it either, however. It seems to be the same drug that you asked him to look into 3 years ago. Ooh, main storyline. You brought that medicine from Japan, right? Weren't the drugs in the rice cakes really related to the detective's brother's case? Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to the next one. If you want to go back, I can help you reschedule the Yangzhou archives. No, we say it's Yangzhou. Okay. Ting's determined shadow clears up the night. The moon in Hanyang is shining bright. Look at what is made in Hanyang today. Watch in wonder as the flames burst into waves. Good headlines. Oh, don't set sail just yet. Okay, Catherine is joining the duo. Maybe they're a trio now. I think that's it, guys. Wow, that case number 3 has toasted my brain, guys. I'm so tired. And so fulfilled. I love it. I think being a detective must be a difficult job, and if the developers of this game have helped us with this case so much by providing all the clues and the doubts to keep track of all the clues, I mean, how do detectives do this kind of work? Well, I think this is a poem, but I don't know it myself. Or maybe they'll translate it in the full version. All of these places still use the steel rails made by the Hanyang Ironworks. 1903. Well, so this is based in... It must be like a real historical ironworks factory. And Wuhan was a center for industry. A lot of work has been put into like the research and all building the world around the story, and I really enjoy that. So huge thanks to the developers here from Omega Games, and huge props to all of these game designers and historical consultant, all of these people, hardworking people, I guess, to produce something like this. And what's left to say is add it to your wish list on Steam, I guess, and stay updated. Stay updated with the community hub. And that's that. Signing off. and good night.